I had called Andreen's phone about 1,000 times already, saying, Andreen, whatever it is, please, please just call me back.
I was on social media and I saw that initial poster that came out with her face, and then it says missing on the top. Andreen is not the person to go take off somewhere no one knows where she is.
The local authorities quickly sprang into action upon receiving Andreen's missing person report. They arrived at the scene, Andreen's home, to search. After entering the residence, the police found no indication of a scuffle or struggle. No furniture was knocked over and no items appeared broken. However, the officers did notice a curious sight: bloodstains on the wall and light switch. They collected suspected blood samples and sent them to the crime lab for analysis. In Andreen's backyard, the officers stumbled upon what looked like a burn pile. Upon closer examination, they discovered a zipper from a blouse, seemingly discarded in the pile. However, the most damning piece of evidence uncovered during the search was a bloody hammer. Andreen Anderson was born in Port Antonio, Jamaica, on September 23, 1989. Growing up, she excelled in her studies, earning a business studies degree with a marketing focus from Excelsior Community College. In 2009, when Andreen was only 19 years old, she met Jamaican native and U.S. Air Force Captain Andre McDonald. Despite their age gap of 10 years, there was an instant attraction between them. Within weeks of meeting Andre, Andreen moved to the United States, settling in San Antonio, Texas. They had a whirlwind romance, marrying in July 2009. Andreen's life took a significant turn for the better when she discovered she was pregnant. The news brought a wave of joy and anticipation as Andreen prepared to embark on a new chapter in her life. 9 months later, she finally gave birth to her and Andre's daughter, Elena. From the moment Elena was born, she became the heart and soul of Andreen's world. Andreen's entire existence revolved around providing the best for her daughter. She dedicated her life to creating a loving and nurturing environment that would enable Elena to thrive and grow. As Elena grew older, Andreen's commitment to creating a nurturing environment only intensified. She ensured that her daughter had access to the best educational resources, extracurricular activities, and opportunities for personal growth. Andreen knew that by providing a positive and nurturing home environment, she could give Elena a solid foundation for success. Andreen, at the age of 22, successfully completed her Bachelor of Business Administration degree in finance from the University of Texas, San Antonio. After completing her BBA, Andreen embarked on her own entrepreneurial venture, Starlight Homes Assisted Living. Initially, this began as a tiny home-based business, but it quickly blossomed into a multi-million-dollar enterprise within less than a decade. The success of Starlight Homes can be attributed to several factors. Firstly, Andreen's passion for providing exceptional care for the elderly was evident in every aspect of her business. She understood the importance of creating a safe and nurturing environment for residents, which resonated with families seeking long-term residential care. Secondly, Andreen's business acumen and strategic decision-making skills were instrumental in driving the growth of Starlight Homes. She recognized the demand for high-quality assisted living services and capitalized on this market opportunity. In addition to her entrepreneurial skills, Andreen also demonstrated a strong work ethic and dedication to her business. Andreen worked tirelessly to deliver top-notch services and exceed customer expectations. Her commitment to excellence earned her a reputation as a trusted provider of assisted living services. Furthermore, Andreen's commitment to the community played a significant role in the success of Starlight Homes.
Andreen had a great reputation in not only the assisted living community here in San Antonio.
And we're on the side of the street this morning and we're giving out food for those less fortunate. And
she was very, very generous with her wealth and her time.
God bless you.
Kind of a rising star of San Antonio.
Absolutely, very, very much so a rising star.
She actively participated in networking events, collaborated with local organizations, and served as a mentor for young entrepreneurs. Consistency was the key to Andreen's success, and she meticulously followed a daily routine. She would wake up at 5 a.m. every morning and hit the gym before starting her workday at 8 a.m. Her colleagues grew concerned when Andreen failed to show up for work on March 1st, 2019.
After calling Andreen repeatedly, it's going to voicemail. The anxiety starts setting in. I start panicking.
One of Andreen's colleagues contacted the gym where she typically exercised. The receptionist informed the concerned coworker that Andreen had not attended the gym that morning. This information sent alarm bells ringing in the staff's minds, as Andreen's dedication to her fitness regimen was well known.
It all started at this location when Andreen McDonald's friends, they were concerned that Andreen hadn't been to the gym or to the business she owned like she would have in her normal routine. Now, the timeline of events dates all the way back to February the 28th when Andreen was last seen near her home.
The local authorities quickly sprang into action upon receiving Andreen's missing person report. They arrived at the scene, Andreen's home, to search. After entering the residence, the police found no indication of a scuffle or struggle. No furniture was knocked over and no items appeared broken. However, the officers did notice a curious sight: bloodstains on the wall and light switch. They collected suspected blood samples and sent them to the crime lab for analysis. In Andreen's backyard, the officers stumbled upon what looked like a burn pile. Upon closer examination, they discovered a zipper from a blouse, seemingly discarded in the pile. This discovery further intensified their suspicions, as it suggested the possibility that Andreen's clothing had been destroyed or tampered with. The officers proceeded to interview Andreen's husband, Andre. He claimed he woke up that morning to prepare their daughter for school. Then he drove her to school and reported to Lackland Air Force Base, where he worked as a cyber warfare analyst. According to Andre, he did not receive any suspicious phone calls or messages before his wife's disappearance. When he learned about the disappearance, he returned home immediately. Andreen was known to suffer frequent migraines, and Andre told the detectives that he had a hunch that she may have sought treatment at a local hospital. Andre decided to visit the emergency room to see if Andreen had gone there. CCTV footage captured Andre in the hospital lobby, where he asked the receptionist if anyone named McDonald had checked themselves in. The receptionist confirmed to Andre that someone named McDonald was indeed in room 3. However, rather than checking to see if the person in room 3 was indeed his wife, Andre left the hospital without verifying their identity. When Andre returned home, he informed the officer that he had found Andreen at the hospital. However, when contacted, the hospital revealed that the person in room 3 was not Andreen, but someone else who shared the same last name. Andre's explanation for this bizarre behavior was that he failed to check the person's identity because he was excited to share the news with Andreen's mother, but he left his cell phone at home and needed it. As the news of Andreen's disappearance spread, detectives were quickly assigned to the case. They began interviewing those closest to her, trying to piece together the events that led to her disappearance. Andre, who seemed distressed and anxious, admitted to the detectives that the night Andreen vanished, they fought. The altercation began at the tax prep office, where a heated argument erupted. Andre said the argument continued when they got home, and to cool off, he drove to a nearby gas station. According to Andre, when he returned a few hours later, he and Andreen slept in separate rooms. He said it was the last time he saw her. He also assured detectives that their marriage was happy. Detectives quickly zeroed in on Andre as a potential suspect in this disappearance. They believed that if he was responsible, there would have been signs of a struggle on his body. However, when they examined Andre's body, they were disappointed to find no visible injuries. This lack of evidence seemed to contradict the theory that Andre was responsible for Andreen's disappearance. However, further investigation into Andreen's phone revealed a different story. The detectives discovered that Andreen had been having an extramarital affair with her childhood love from Jamaica. Andreen and this man secretly exchanged messages and made plans to meet. This revelation cast a shadow of doubt on Andre's claims of a happy marriage. As the detectives continued their investigation, they realized Andre's statement was not adding up. There were inconsistencies and contradictions that raised suspicions. The detectives dug deeper, determined to uncover the truth behind Andreen's disappearance. Andreen and this man had even gotten matching tattoos with each other's birth dates. The detectives assigned to the case could tell that Andre was enraged when he learned that Andreen had been having relations behind his back. In text messages, Andre confronted Andreen, demanding that she cover up the tattoo they had shared and sever all ties with her lover. He also made it clear that she would never be permitted to travel to Jamaica without him. An undercover officer assigned to surveil the McDonald's home observed Andre leaving the house and driving to a gun shop nearby. Alarm bells rang as the officer realized that something was afoot. They followed Andre to the shop and witnessed him purchasing a 9mm handgun. Officers confirmed Andre's presence outside the gun shop, and they swiftly apprehended him. He was then taken to a military authorities facility for a mental health evaluation. This move was deemed necessary due to the volatile nature of the situation and the potential danger he posed to himself and those around him. While the investigation continued, crime scene investigators executed a search warrant at the McDonald's residence. Inside the home, they made several disturbing discoveries. They found a shovel, trash bags, an axe, and a hatchet in the garage. These items suggested a sinister intent and a potential motive for murder. Furthermore, the CSI team discovered that Andre's clothing in the trash stained with blood. However, the most damning piece of evidence uncovered during the search was a bloody hammer. The hammer in the garage was unnerving for the detectives. They knew that a hammer could be a practical tool, but it also carried the potential for violence. Further, the discovery of blood on the hammer raised red flags and intensified their focus on Andre as the primary suspect. All the items found were sent to the crime lab for analysis, specifically focusing on DNA evidence. There are several different types of DNA tests used in forensic laboratories, each with its own specific applications and advantages. Commonly used DNA tests are polymerase chain reaction, short tandem repeat, mitochondrial DNA, and Y chromosomal DNA. The detectives were confident that the hammer discovered near the crime scene had been used to kill Andreen. However, they needed further evidence to tie the hammer directly to her husband. While police were building their case, Andre underwent evaluation at a mental health facility. On the following day, Andre was released from the facility. Volunteers, family members, and even a search group of former airmen from the Air Force came together to look for Andreen. Together, they walked hundreds of miles, traversing dense forests and vegetation. Despite mounting evidence and the ongoing search efforts, Andre refused to participate or provide any information that could potentially aid in locating Andreen. Instead of cooperating, Andre hired an attorney who advised him to exercise his right to remain silent. By doing so, Andre effectively cut off any possibility of communication between the authorities and himself. This stonewalling frustrated detectives, who believed that Andre's refusal to cooperate hindered the progress of the investigation. The disappearance of Andreen had been a subject of intense investigation for months. Detectives from the police department had been tirelessly working to unravel the case, gathering evidence and conducting interviews in their pursuit of finding her whereabouts. However, their efforts were met with resistance from Andre, who refused to cooperate or even acknowledge his involvement in the disappearance. On July 11, 2019, at around 10 a.m., a farmer working in a field 6 miles from where Andre and Andreen resided stumbled upon a human skull on his property. The discovery immediately caught his attention, and he promptly contacted 911 to report the alarming find. Upon receipt of the call, the authorities dispatched a team of police officers to the scene. Officers arrived promptly and began a thorough investigation. As the officers meticulously examined the property, they stumbled upon a gruesome discovery: the full set of skeletal human remains. The discovery of the skeletal remains sparked an immediate investigation by the local authorities. Forensic experts were deployed to the crime scene to gather any evidence that may help determine the identity and circumstances surrounding the individual's death. After conducting DNA testing, the medical examiner confirmed that the body found on the farm belonged to Andreen McDonald. However, determining the cause of death posed a significant challenge due to the body's prolonged exposure to the elements. The natural decomposition of the body, coupled with the damage caused by exposure to the elements, made it difficult for the medical examiner to make an accurate assessment. Despite these difficulties, the medical examiner was able to determine that Andreen McDonald's death was caused by homicidal violence. In his report, he specifically specified that her cause of death was blunt force trauma, as several of her bones were broken. This finding indicated that the injuries she sustained were not accidental, but rather the result of a deliberate act of violence. Days later, on July 15th, Andre was arrested and charged with Andreen's murder.
Andreen's husband, Andre McDonald, arrested at his home this morning on a murder charge. The Bexar County Sheriff's Office confirms the remains found on Specht Road, just about 6 miles from the McDonald's home, are those of Andreen.
Yeah, the sheriff says it was the remains of Andreen McDonald that they needed. It was a missing piece that they needed to seal this case and make the arrest today. Now, her body, positively identified using dental records last night, appeared to have been covered with wood and bones near a dead cow and set on fire on Specht Road.
He pleaded not guilty, denying any involvement in her disappearance and death. The prosecution argued that Andre murdered Andreen out of jealousy and a perceived sense of emasculation. They believed that Andre felt threatened by his wife's success and decided to take matters into his own hands. To support their claim, they presented strong evidence, including witness testimonies and forensic analysis. Andre's defense attorney strongly disagreed with the prosecution's theory and presented a different version of events. They argued that Andreen's death was a tragic accident, not a matter of murder. The attorneys contended that Andre was a devoted husband and successful in his own right. The defense team put forth a compelling case that portrayed Andre as a responsible and devoted spouse. Andre's attorneys argued that Andre's love for Andreen was genuine and that he was deeply remorseful for what had happened. They pointed out that Andre had no motive to kill Andreen and that he had been a loving and supportive partner throughout their relationship. Andre's defense team played up the positive aspects of Andre's life. The attorney presented evidence of his professional achievements, highlighting his successful career and the positive contributions he had made to his community. They argued that Andre's character was not consistent with the portrayal of him as a murderer. During Andre's trial, he testified in his own defense, saying that he and Andreen had been at the tax office when he discovered she had opened a business without telling him. This discovery and a heated argument led to an altercation when they returned home. Andre claimed he left the house to calm down and go to a gas station, but the argument continued via text message. When Andre returned home, the disagreement escalated when Andreen confronted her husband, spitting in his face. This act of aggression deeply angered Andre, who responded by pushing Andreen away. However, the situation took a violent turn when Andreen started to bleed from her head. Andre stated that Andreen became violent, punching him repeatedly in a desperate attempt to get away from the blood she saw in the bathroom mirror. In self-defense, Andre claimed that he tripped Andreen, causing her to fall to the floor.
I'm extremely irate at the thought of splitting the business. Charges into the room to confront me. So when she comes into the room, I turn around and she comes like right up in my face. So at that moment, she spits in my face. So at that point, grabbed her. So she's like right in front of me, so I grabbed her head. And I think we had like a clash of heads, and I think it opened up like a cut somewhere on her face.
As Andre was in the process of kicking her the second time, he heard the footsteps of his young daughter upstairs. He decided to leave Andreen on the floor and go upstairs to put his daughter back to sleep.
When she comes, she's like throwing like some punches, so I'm trying to like duck down and like keep my face from getting hit with the blows. But I remember like grabbing her, like tripping her, and then she like falls, and that's when I kick her like twice. The second kick, I think I heard like some type of wheezing, and then also like in the background, I could hear like some footsteps.
However, Andre said when he returned to Andreen, she was dead. Instead of calling for help, Andre made a shocking decision. He claimed that he wanted to remove Andreen's body from the house before their daughter woke up and discovered the incident.
I became like pretty frantic at that point because, she's dead on the floor.
You never thought I need to call EMS?
I never thought about calling anybody to revive a dead person. My purpose at that point was simply to get her out of the house so that my 7-year-old daughter wouldn't see her mother laying on the floor dead.
As a result, he loaded her body into the car and drove 6 miles to a secluded farm. The prosecution presented the hammer found in Andreen's house with Andreen's blood on it. Andre admitted to returning to the farm in the days after disposing of Andreen's body. He stated that he was so angry that he set the remaining remains on fire and beat her skull with the hammer. This incident led to Andreen's DNA being found on the hammer. Andre's defense attorneys made a compelling case that he acted in self-defense that night. To bolster their theory, they presented the jury with videos of Andreen working out at the gym. showcasing her strength and physical capabilities.
When she attacked you, were you in fear? Yes, I was in fear of, being harmed during that whole situation.
They also presented images of Andreen carrying her husband on her back, further emphasizing her strength. According to Andreen was capable of lifting 300 pounds. It took the jury a while to deliberate and weigh the evidence presented in the case. Ultimately, they returned with a verdict that divided public opinion. Some believed Andree's claim of self-defense, while others questioned the circumstances surrounding Andreen's death. The jurors immediately reached a verdict after a thorough deliberation process. They determined that Andrew was not guilty of Andreen's murder, but found him guilty of a lesser charge of manslaughter. This verdict brought some closure to Andreen's loved ones, but the debate surrounding his punishment continued. In 2023, the judge sentenced Andrew to a minimum of 2 years in prison and a maximum of 20 years for the manslaughter charge. This sentence was determined by the severity of his actions and the need to deter future offenses. However, many believed that Andrew deserved a harsher punishment. Andreen's loved ones expressed frustration and disappointment with the verdict and sentence.
Everything was said in the courtroom. All the evidence were there. He confessed on the stand what he did. They saw his demeanor. I don't know what was the problem.
Her friends and family argued that Andree had carefully planned and executed the murder and that he did not deserve leniency. They believed that the punishment did not adequately reflect the gravity of the crime. Thank you so much once again for watching another video by Wednesday Crime. If you like the way we bring to you stories or you learned something new today, please like this video and consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't yet. As always, remember to leave your thoughts in the comments section below. Perhaps someone learns from your experience or advice. I will talk to you again in another video. It's bye for now.